So today I'll be talking about artistic expressions of identity through the analysis of Gustave Courbet's artwork and his expression of identity. So first, historical, cultural, and social context. Gustave Courbet is a French painter. He was born in Ornans, a farming town in eastern France. As for his early life and work, Courbet is in the middle class. He has solid education. He attended two colleges, which is the College Royal and the College of Fine Arts. He developed his skills as an artist by practicing and replicating famous art pieces instead of enrolling into a top-tier academic system of arts. He was an artist who was tired of the stereotypical and traditional art styles and was determined to challenge established painting genres and protest against traditional cliches and change the course of art history. Courbet was not depicting beauty, he was depicting truth in his artwork. This uncompromising artistic sincerity made him stand out from all the other artists working at that time. So next is the purpose statement. So what I'll be doing is I'll be analyzing how language can be used to express and affirm identity and culture. So I'll be doing this through the language of Gustave Courbet. And how? I will do this by using the elements of art and the principles of design seen in the right hand side over here as a guide for understanding the language used in the expression and affirmation of identity and culture for Gustave Courbet's artwork. So the first identity we'll be talking about is Courbet's personal identity as a romantic painter. So now romanticism is actually a jargon used by artists. A romantic painter is someone who lays their artworks on the emphasis of individualism and emotion. And the name of this artwork is called The Desperate Man, that was painted in 1845 by Courbet himself. So now the first element I'll be talking about is line and movement. Lines represented in this painting are diagonal and curved lines. Diagonal lines convey the feeling of movement. Artworks that don't have definite horizontal and vertical lines are often in motion and implicate the meaning that the subject is like unstable. Curves on the human body also have a sensual effect on the composition of the artwork, making the artwork seem more realistic and convey quite an unsettling feeling. These lines create the effect of pathos on the audience, appealing to their emotions in order to evoke the feeling of tension, desperation, and vulnerability, and expresses Courbet's identity as a romantic painter, expressing his own psychological state and the emotions he felt at the time, which then expresses his identity as an artist in the Romanticism movement, highlighting because it highlights his own emotions and identity in the painting, which is what Romanticism is all about: emotions and individualism. So the next element of art I'll be talking about is emphasis and value. So Courbet emphasizes the portrait subject by using harsh lighting effects and value to create strong shadows and dramatic contrasts. So in the artwork, Courbet himself stands out because he contrasts with the darker environment that he's in or the background. The dramatic contrast on the subject implies the strong rendering of emotions in Romanticism and demonstrates Courbet's idealect because his unique usage of elements of art to convey desperation and despair, which was influenced by the life events and his life experiences at the time he was painting this artwork. So the artwork overall expresses Courbet's idealect without using verbal language, but instead visual aspects like elements of art and the principles of design. So another one of Courbet's identities is his cultural identity as a member of the rural community in Ornans, his hometown. So a little bit of background on the artwork. The artwork's purpose was that Courbet decided to teach others about the traditions and ways of rural French communities like his own. Courbet used his sisters as models and depicted rural crafts in his artwork. So the first element I'll be talking about is colors and contrasts. So the colors in this art piece are mostly undiluted and bright in contrast to the Desperate Man. We can see the contrasting values on and colors on the floor, hence putting emphasis on the wheat, which contrasts with the white cloth, implying the wheat's importance in the artwork considering its name, Wheat Sifters. His sister, who is sifting the wheat, is also emphasized through her bright orange dress, attracting the audiences to the local attire of the community he lives in and their lifestyle, thus reflecting Courbet's sociolect through his artwork. So the next element I'll be talking about is movement and unity, which I found juxtaposition and composition. Now, juxtaposition has a different meaning in art and is again a jargon used by artists. Juxtaposition is a type of movement where the artist portrays the subject in a freeze frame. as we can see here in the artwork, there is juxtaposition with all subjects in the piece, whether that be the shifter, the sifter, the woman sleeping, or the boy behind. This creates a central flow of movement and unity or harmony in the artwork because they're all in the same type of movement. We can say that this, in a way, produces the effect of kairos because we see the subjects in the frozen, perfectly timely manner, which allows us to understand the traditional lifestyle, rural crafts, and community. Hence, we are also able to interpret the expression of Courbet's social act. So in conclusion, as we saw, as an artist, Gustave Courbet expresses his identity through his artwork, through the function of the different elements of art and principle of design as his languages. His different identities are represented in the changes and developments in the different elements of art and principles of design, which are often influenced by his life experiences, culture, and the surroundings he's in. We've also noticed that Courbet also depicts his sociolect and ideolect quite distinctively in each of his artwork through the use of elements and principles of design and art. Specifically, for example, in The Desperate Man, Courbet used lines, movement, and emphasis and value to really bring out his to for those elements to function as a language so that he could express his ideolect. Whereas in the Wheat Sifters, we saw that Courbet really used the colors, the contrast, the movement, and the unity as a function, as his language to express his social act, which is his culture identity, into the artwork. From that, we can conclude that languages that are used to express and affirm identity doesn't necessarily have to be a language that we speak verbally, but instead it could be visual aspects such as the elements of art and the principle of design, seeing that different identities have different ways of expressing and affirming their identities in their own personal way. Thank you.